happening, guys? Welcome back to another Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon Wi-Fi battle. Today, I've got another NU match. This is using the same team as I was a couple videos back, and this one is against my boy Weedle Twineedle. We haven't battled in a while, so we decided to hop in one. It turned out to be a pretty good battle, so let's go ahead and just get right into it. Alright, so I'm just going to be leading off with my Uxie, essentially just to get a U-turn, because I do know that he has a Xatu on his team, and he's going to end up leading off with a Corsola, trying to bait me into going for the Stealth Rock, and I know that he's just going to switch right into that freaking Totem Bird, so I don't want the Magic Bounce to happen and then get the rocks on my side of the field, so I am going to predict that switch and just go straight for the U-turn, as he does make that play, and he ends up going into the fuck hazards there. So, no hazards getting fucked today, as I get a nice little U-turn, unfortunately get hurt by some Rocky Helmet, but not too big of a deal, as this gives me a nice bit of momentum, because I can switch into whatever I want on this matchup, and I decide to go into Big Meaty Claws, who can scare this thing out with an Ice Beam. So I'm not going to make any fancy plays here, I'm just going to go right for that, as he ends up switching back into the Corsola, and the Ice Beam is not going to do much. I'm assuming this is a special defense wall. And honestly, I haven't seen a Corsola in like forever, so it's pretty interesting to see that, as now I'm going to go for an Aura Sphere. I kind of thought this would kill, being super effective, and I'm Life Orb, but he ends up living it with like 20 HP, and this allows him to fire off a Mirror Coat at me, which really is unfortunate, because now I'm going to lose my Big Meaty Claws, and now my Lobster goes down to a chunk of Coral, and I don't really know how to feel about that, but it does suck because Cloudster would have been really useful later on in the match. It hits a lot of his team for some solid damage, but now I have a free switch. I decided to go into my Hariyama here. I wanted to go for the Bullet Punch, just thinking he would sack off the Corsola, but he ends up switching into the Whimsicott here, which is nice because that is super effective. It's going to do almost half to this thing, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to stay in and go for another one. I know that being Assault Vested, I can take any attack this thing wants to throw at me, so there's no reason to switch out here, so I just go for another nice little Bullet Punch. He lives it with red HP, and now this is going to allow him to go for a U-turn, and now I really wish that I had Stealth Rock up on his side of the field, just because that Whimsicott would have been dead. It actually also would have really helped against that Corsola too, but nothing I can do there, as now he brings in the Sock. And I don't want to take a physical attack with Hariyama, so I'm just going to switch right into my Uxie here. As he goes for the knockoff, it is going to do a decent chunk of damage, but I am max HP and defense, so I can take that pretty nicely. And now it's pretty obvious that he's going to switch. He doesn't want to take a Psychic with his Sock, so he's going to go ahead and switch right back into the Xatu on the off chance that I went for the Stealth Rock, but I just get a nice little U-turn off. I'm gonna do a little bit more chunk damage to that thing and then hurt myself with some Rocky Helmet, but now I'm looking at it and it's a good as time as any to go ahead and try out my my Mustard Ghost. So I bring in Mismagius, and I'm actually just gonna go for a Substitute, hoping that he decides to go for a status move. So I set up the old Beanbag, and luckily he actually does end up going for a Thunder Wave, which is perfect. So now I'm safely behind my Substitute here, eating some leftovers, having a swell time, and I decide to go ahead and set up some nasty plots, as I figure this is gonna be maybe a potential Mismagius sweep. So I think some nasty thoughts, get that special attack sky high, and I'm pretty much ready to destroy some stuff, as now he's just going to go for a Psychic to break the Substitute there, so not too big of a deal, as I did what I kind of needed to, got that +2 in special attack, and I'm pretty much at full HP, so things are looking good for old Ghosty here, as I'm just going to go now for a nice little Shadow Ball, and he's going to end up switching. He decides to go back into the freaking Corsola, who is still alive for some damn reason, and these things have the Regenerator ability, don't they? I kind of forgot about that, but I pretty much just tell this Corsola to regenerate these nuts, and I hit him with a nice little Shadow Ball, which is going to take that thing out. So he sacks that thing off, so now he has a free switch into whatever he wants, so he is going to bring in the Sock, and I know that it's pretty likely that I can live one knockoff at this health, so I decide to stay in, but he ends up going for the Ice Punch, I'm assuming predicting a switch, but this allows me to get a nice little Dazzling Gleam off, and it is going to knock this thing down to Sturdy. So yet again, Stealth Rock really would have helped me out there, but yeah, not happening. So I'm chilling here above half health, thinking that I might be able to live another Ice Punch, so I'm just going to stay in and try to knock this thing out, but he gets a decent roll, and that is going to take care of Mismagius. So down goes that thing. Unfortunately, no sweep with the Ghost today, and I haven't used Substitute Nasty Plot Mismagius in a while, and it's pretty damn awesome still. So now I'm going to bring in the Hariyama. I am thick fat, so I know I can take an Ice Punch easily. Rather than going for the Bullet Punch, I actually just went for knockoff, trying to predict a switch, but he stays in. You got to go ahead and sack off the Sock, which sounds kind of weird. But yeah, so now he's going to bring in the freaking Xatu yet again, and I'm just going to go for a knockoff. I know it's going to be able to do a lot of damage, plus I can take a Psychic easily, and Hairy Arms is not afraid of your freaking Psychic Bird. So I tell him to knock it off, and that is going to knock out the Xatu. So things are looking pretty good here, although unfortunately after the Rocky Helmet damage, Hariyama's not looking too good here. So now he decides to bring in the Wrestle Me Dab, and this is the Incineroar, and now that these things have the Intimidate ability, which I wasn't even aware of, they are a little bit more useful here. So he gets the Intimidate, and here's where I make a misplay. I decide to go for the Bullet Punch, just trying to get a little bit of damage before I die, but he is going to end up going for the Bulk Up, and I was like, oh shit, this is this is not going to be too good for me here. So he gets that bulk up. He's over there just lifting some weights, you know, just doing Incineroar things, and he is going to go for another one there. So he's at +2 attack and defense, and now I'm just going to go for an Earthquake to try to get as much damage as possible. But after the Intimidate, which lowers my attack, and then his +2 defense, Earthquake is really just not going to do much to this thing at all. Plus, he does actually have the weakness policy there, so that's going to raise his attack even further, and I am pretty damn afraid of this Incineroar. But now he's going to go for a Flame Charge that is going to knock me out while also raising his speed, but I'm not really too afraid because I do have a Whimsicott on my team, and I know I should still be able to outspeed even though he has that speed boost. So I bring in 100% Cotton. I figure, you know what, I'm choice specs. I got that Stab Moonblast, and it should be able to take this thing out. So I go for that max special attack freaking Whimsicott Moonblast, but Incineroar is just way too naturally bulky, and he is actually able to live that, which is very unfortunate because now I really don't have anything left on my team that can take care of this thing. So now I just gotta bring in my freaking Toxicroak. I'm making an interesting play here. Rather than going for the Sucker Punch, I thought he would predict that, and I just went for the Poison Jab, but he ends up just attacking anyway. I could have actually knocked that thing out with the Sucker Punch, but he makes a good play there, and the Mind Games kind of got the best of me, as now I don't have anything left on my team. Freaking Uxie's the only one left there, so I go ahead and run, and I just got freaking Incineroared. Honestly, that was a pretty good showcase on his end for the new Incineroar with the Intimidate. It made it so it was able to live that freaking Moonblast.